In the shadowed alleys of Medellín, a boy was born who would one day hold the world in the palm of his hand and shatter it with his blood-soaked ambition. This is the story of Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria, druggist, politician, Robin Hood to some, monster to many, a man whose life was as sprawling and explosive as the empire he built. On December 1, 1949, in the quiet township of Rio Negro, Colombia, Pablo Escobar entered a world marked by modest means and fierce aspiration. His father, Abel de Jesus Escobar, plied his trade as a farmer. His mother, Hermilda Gaviria, taught school with a steely grace. Even as a child, Pablo displayed a restless intelligence, a knack for numbers, a flair for persuasion, and a restless longing for more than village life could offer. By adolescence, Pablo's entrepreneurial spark ignited in neighborhood schemes, selling contraband cigarettes, lottery tickets, and, legend has it, stealing tombstones to resell as monuments. This early dance with petty crime taught him the art of logistics, negotiation, and evasion. Yet beneath these minor transgressions lay a simmering ambition, to break free from poverty's grip and ascend to heights no Colombian had dared to reach. Medellín in the early 1970s was a city fractured by inequality, gleaming skyscrapers overshadowing sprawling slums. It was here that Escobar encountered his first taste of the drug trade. Small-time smuggling of marijuana and heroin provided the springboard, but Pablo's gaze was fixed on a far more lucrative prize: cocaine. With contacts among farmers in rural Antioquia and connections to smuggling rings on the Caribbean coast, he built the skeleton of what would become the Medellín Cartel. By consolidating disparate brigades under his ruthless leadership, Escobar pioneered large-scale distribution to the United States, where demand for cocaine was skyrocketing. He mastered the route through Florida's beaches, then innovated airdrops from light aircraft, ensuring his product slipped past customs and law enforcement with bewildering efficiency. By 1976, Pablo Escobar had cemented his reputation as El Patrón, the boss. His Medellín cartel was no mere collection of smugglers, but a vertically integrated behemoth. Laboratories in the jungles of Colombia, fleets of aircraft, private submarines, and convoys of graffitied Mercedes-Benzes. Each kilo of cocaine refined in clandestine labs would fetch astronomical sums in Chicago, New York, and beyond. Escobar's genius lay in his blend of brutality and benevolence. To the impoverished comunas of Medellín, he was a modern-day Robin Hood, building soccer fields, churches, housing projects. To his rivals and enemies, he was a merciless warlord, executions carried out in broad daylight, bombings that rattled Bogotá's halls of power. Under his watch, the Medellín cartel came to dominate some 80% of the global cocaine market, an empire worth an estimated $70 billion annually. In 1982, Escobar audaciously sought legitimacy through politics. Elected as an alternate member of Colombia's Chamber of Representatives, he presented himself as a champion of the poor, funding scholarships, clinics, and infrastructure. His political platform decried the brutal tactics of the military against drug suspects and called for legalization of cocaine to end the misery wrought by prohibition. Yet behind this veneer of respectability lay a darker game. Escobar wielded his political office like a shield, vetoing extradition treaties with the United States and shielding himself from prosecution. When Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla dared to expose his criminal dealings, Lara was gunned down in April 1984. This assassination marked the unraveling of any remaining illusion. The patron saint facade evaporated, replaced by the fearsome reality of a narco-tycoon unafraid to assassinate government officials. Silver or lead, Escobar's chilling ultimatum, became the cartel's modus operandi. Accept his bribes, or face a hail of bullets. Judges and generals, police and politicians, none were beyond his reach. Bombings became commonplace. The 1985 bombing of the Avianca Flight 203, the destruction of the Judicial Palace in Bogotá, each atrocity designed to paralyze the state and force concessions. Yet in Medellín's barrios, Escobar's influence blossomed. Local residents, grateful for schools and sports complexes, turned a blind eye to his atrocities. His personal charisma, grinning under a fedora, cradling cash like confetti, belied the ferocity of his reign. Through propaganda pamphlets and carefully choreographed public appearances, he crafted a persona that was both fatherly and fearsome, a duality that kept law enforcement perpetually off balance. By the late 1980s, Colombia had become a battleground. The government, under U.S. pressure, unleashed the Search Block, a special police unit funded by the Drug Enforcement Administration. Meanwhile, rival cartels and vigilante groups like Los Peeps, people persecuted by Pablo Escobar, took up arms in a bloody vendetta. The streets of Medellín were aflame, innocents caught in the crossfire. Escobar's response was swift and brutal. He ordered hit squads to slaughter suspected informants, bombed entire neighborhoods suspected of collusion, and organized hits on Supreme Court justices. The city's murder rate soared. Wealthy Colombians fled at a rate rivaling wartime displacement. International airports tightened screening, naval blockades choked shipments, but still the cocaine flowed, protected by tunnels, false compartments, and a network of complicit officials. In June 1991, weary of war and facing imminent extradition to the United States, Escobar struck a deal with President Cesar Gaviria, surrender in exchange for incarceration in a prison built to his specifications. La Catedral, located just outside Medellín, was less a jail and more a luxurious fortress, complete with gourmet chefs, karaoke machines, and a soccer field. Here, El Patron held court, entertaining guests, awarding honors to loyal lieutenants, and continuing to run his empire with astonishing impunity. But his council soon realized that his dominion behind bars undermined state authority. In July 1992, when orders came to transfer him to a standard prison, Escobar slipped away, vanishing into the urban labyrinth he had once ruled. The hunt for Pablo Escobar became the stuff of legend. The Search Block enlisted U.S. Special Forces, CIA advisors, and electronic surveillance to track his every move. His signature, encrypted radio transmissions, coded messages, and a network of safe houses, proved challenging to intercept. Meanwhile, Los Peeps waged a parallel campaign, hunting down Escobar's allies, assassinating them in public streets. On December 2, 1993, a breakthrough came. Agents traced a call from Escobar's teenage son, Sebastián, from a hideout in a middle-class neighborhood of Medellín. As Escobar climbed onto a tiled rooftop to make another desperate call, a hail of bullets tore into his body. He fell in the moonlight at 3:15 a.m., 44 years old. A king dethroned, his reign ended not by handcuffs, but by a rifle's final echo. Escobar's death did not spell the end of the cartel's power, far from it. His hidden stashes of cash, rumored to total $50 billion, remain the subject of treasure hunts and police raids to this day. Hacienda Nápoles, his sprawling estate replete with a private zoo, remains a dark tourist attraction, whispering tales of subterranean vaults and secret tunnels. Yet the Medellín Cartel splintered, survivors melting into successor organizations, the Cali Cartel, Mexican cartels like Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation, who adapted Escobar's model to an evolving landscape of encrypted communications and darknet marketplaces. The life of Pablo Escobar offers stark lessons. He demonstrated that extreme violence can bend governments, that poverty and disenfranchisement fuel criminal empires, and that charismatic propaganda can cloak monstrous deeds. His Plata o Plomo doctrine remains a chilling reminder of how corruption corrodes institutions. In the years since his fall, Colombia has made strides. Peace accords with guerrilla groups, expanded social programs, and stronger judicial safeguards. But the specter of Escobar lingers, in pop culture, in academic studies, and in the nightmares of those who lived through his reign. He was both architect and victim of a system that pitted greed against governance, violence against compassion. Today, as cartels franchise across continents, as encrypted messaging apps replace radio codes, and as darknet markets offer anonymity to buyers and sellers, the blueprint laid by Escobar endures. Modern traffickers have refined his playbook, diversifying portfolios into oil, mining, and human trafficking, co-opting social media for recruitment and propaganda, laundering money through cryptocurrencies. Yet for all the technological advances, the human cost remains the same. Communities torn apart by addiction, families shattered by violence, and institutions corrupted by wealth that flows through untraceable channels. The story of Pablo Escobar is not just a biography, it's a warning etched in blood, a testament to what happens when ambition meets impunity. As the sun sets over Medellín today, statues stand in plazas once stained with blood. Street art celebrates the fallen king and mourns the thousands he destroyed. In the end, Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria's greatest empire was one of fear, and his downfall a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. May we remember his tale, not as spectacle, but as a cautionary chronicle of power's darkest seduction.